unhinged ones. Today's video is not going to be a life update so much as it is going to be a discussion of a topic that I feel very passionately about. And it's also on something that I don't think it's talked about enough, not only among therapists, but non-therapists as well. Also, if you couldn't tell by the title of this video, a lot of what I'm about to talk about is going to ruffle some feathers. It's going to be very emotionally heavy, and it's also going to make people uncomfortable. But the wisest advice that I ever got from a teacher was, if I'm not making my students uncomfortable, then I'm not doing my job. So sit back, get your snacky snacks, get you a drink, and let's dive right into this topic. So if you couldn't tell, I am very white. And if you also couldn't tell, I am a psychotherapist. I've been doing therapy for about 10 years, like starting from my practicum site, which was 2015. We're now in 2025. Yeah, you do the math. And I've seen therapy go through a lot of evolutionary shifts. I've seen things that were once okay to say now become not okay to say, and vice versa. And just to put it into historical context, I became licensed as a psychotherapist in early 2017. The Me Too movement actually didn't happen until later that year. The George Floyd protests actually didn't happen until 2020, which is when I became fully licensed. Donald Trump also got elected in 2016, which was the year that I started my internship. So yeah, I've seen a lot of historical shifts in the almost decade that I've become, a full decade that I have been a therapist. And the one thing that I always remember is that I come into the therapy room with a position of power. Let's break that down. Not only am I a white therapist, and to be a therapist, you have to have at least a master's level education. But not only am I a white therapist, but I'm also a white male therapist. Yes, I'm gay, but I have a lot of privilege as compared to a lot of other people who enter this field. Privilege both in academia as well as the private practice setting. I can safely say that because I am white, doors have been opened for me. I'm not proud of that whatsoever. And that is the reality, that as a white man, I have more privilege. Therapy itself is a very white-dominated field. So since most of us in this field are white or white passing, we have to really examine ourselves and the power differential that we bring into the room and the power dynamic that we share with our clients, both white clients as well as clients of color. How I function as a white therapist in 2025. A personal philosophy of mine is that I have to stay informed, but I'm also constantly learning from my clients. That's not to say that I don't make it my client's job to educate me, because it's my own job to actually educate myself. And that includes cultural dynamics, that includes cultural values, that includes different cultures and different ethnicities, that includes what's okay in one culture might not be okay for another culture, whether that's eye contact, whether that's body language. I have to already go in having a general, at bare minimum, general understanding of what kind of cultural background my clients come from. Even on the intake paperwork, it's good if you put a place where your clients come from, because to go in completely colorblind is problematic. There was a couple that I saw who neither of them were white, and they were both actually from different cultural backgrounds. And I sat down with them and I said, as a white therapist, I am still learning. So if I say something that is offensive or ill-informed, I give you both permission to call me out on it. And I even said that even though it's still my duty ethically to educate myself, I'm still learning and I'm still growing, as we all are. And I want to be able to learn. And I want to be able to show up as ethically and informed as possible. So I give you permission to call me out if I say something that is just not okay, because it builds a level of safety. It sends the message that no one has to get it right the first time, but if they get it wrong, they are open to hearing about it and learning about it. Also, I just want to say that no part of this video is me being a white savior or virtue signaling. It's simply a conversation that I'd like to have with you all that is just really not had enough. And also, this isn't me telling you how to do it. This is simply just me talking about my reality as a white therapist and how I show up for my clients, regardless if they're a different gender or a different ethnicity or culture than me. So you basically honor your client's reality. You meet them where they're at. And I've even had clients say, I don't like white people. And I'll usually honor that. And I will say that, it took a lot of strength for you to say that to me as a white man right now. And I'll kind of explore that reality and say, like, what makes you not like white people? So a huge skill that I want to share with all of you, whether you're a current therapist, an aspiring therapist, or just a human who wants to learn, is called empathic curiosity. This is when you explore the client's reality through curiosity. I'm curious what that's like for you. You say you don't like white people. I'm curious where that comes from. I'm curious what it was like now for you to tell me that. I'm curious what your reality is as a person of color. I'm curious if you feel safe right now even talking with me. So once you deliver that level of curiosity with your clients, that sends them the message, oh, I'm not going to be shut down here. I'm going to be safe to talk about my reality. So yes, empathic curiosity. If you are a white therapist and you are really petrified of saying the wrong thing, just stay curious. Stay curious about your client's reality if they're clients of color. And also make sure to honor them. You feel scared? Okay. You feel scared as a Latin American? Okay. You feel scared of being pulled over by police? Okay. And you can even say, that's not a reality that I experience, so I can't fully empathize, but I can only imagine how terrifying that must be to live with that day to day. So to kind of sum it up so far, this is not easy stuff to talk about. And I even went back and forth as to whether I was going to post this or post something just completely silly, but I said, you know what? In light of all the political unrest, I'm going to talk about this. So if we're not uncomfortable, we're not learning. Here's what I've seen that absolutely does not work. Do not gaslight, do not minimize, and do not dismiss. I've seen a lot of therapists do this, and it just really gets my goat. When white therapists are seeing clients of color, and the client of color is saying, I don't feel safe, I feel like ICE is going to detain me, I feel like the police are going to pull me over, I feel judged wherever I go, do not say, well, what's the worst that could happen? Because this gives them the message. Sorry, I'm getting triggered just talking about it. This gives your clients of color a message that their reality does not matter. It does. Also, please don't play devil's advocate in their realities. They're already petrified enough. And if you're wondering, have you actually seen this? Yes, I have. I've seen white therapists talk to clients of color, whether they are African American or Latin American, and basically say, your way of thinking is holding you back. Or, is it really that bad? Yes, it is that bad. So instead of challenging their thought processes, just sit with them. Dance in their reality. Understand why they are thinking that way. There is white privilege. And if you haven't gathered that by now, go ahead and click off because I don't know what to tell you. But there is white privilege. And if you are a white therapist, any of your clients who are not white experience white privilege every day through discrimination, through oppression, through subjugation, and through microaggressions and macroaggressions. So the two basic things that I want everyone to kind of take away from this video of how I show up as a white therapist in the year 2025 is I stay curious of their realities and I make sure to not minimize their realities. And just as a side note, I know no other way but diversity. I grew up in Houston. I went to University of Houston, which is literally one of the most racially diverse campuses in the country. And when there's a lack of diversity, I get uncomfortable. Like, I knew what white privilege was before there was a name for it. And again, what I talked about today is at a very basic level. I could get really, really deep. But I'm hoping to just kind of talk to some other therapists out there who are just nervous about starting therapy and how to be culturally informed. You have to do your own work. You have to stay aware of how you are perceived as a person. You have to educate yourself. You have to hear the realities of other people around you who don't experience the world in the same way that you do. That is called empathy. If you have similar experiences, or if you have a vastly different experience or different approach of how to approach this very emotionally charged topic, please comment. I'd love to hear the realities of other therapists out there or aspiring therapists and what they're doing to basically remain culturally informed so that they can show up more wholeheartedly for their clients, whether their clients are the same background or different. But if you are emotionally involved in my content and you are just as unhinged as I am, please like, comment, share, and most importantly, if we vibe, subscribe.